We get a chance to get the West Coast going every time we bring our Longhorn Insider in. That's right, Mr. Sean Adams, he's back, and football season as well. Welcome back to Laying Down the Law, my man.
What's going on, fellas? How you doing? I like that cue.
You give us a chance to go West Coast on us, man. Left Coast. I always want to show respect to all of our guests. And, man, it is fun to pull out the tunes to show a little love to whence you come. And, you know, just as much as anywhere else, Houston, New York City, Philly, Chicago, the left coast, definitely. And music and sports, as you know, Sean, you have been a high-level All-American doing what you do. Music and sports just go hand in hand to get us in the right frame of mind. And get us in the right frame of mind for football, UT Longhorn style.
Yeah, you know, I think the one thing that we've always known, one on a music tip, is that most musicians want to be athletes, and most athletes want to be musicians. That's why you get so many bad athletes and bad rappers.
Exactly.
But no, this University of Texas team is, more than anything, I think it's a fascinating story. I think it's a fascinating story from the standpoint of Charlie Strong is brand new. He's in. He is. He speaks in heretical language as compared to his predecessor, and he acts in heretical ways. And I have a huge appreciation for that. And I think beyond that, I think we also have to look at the fact that everybody's guessing right now. I had Desmond Howard on my show last week, and he said, it's just a great story. I can't wait to see it. I had Andy Staples from Sports Illustrated on the show this past week, and he said, man, I wonder how much he can get done his first year. And then Bruce Feldman was on the Longhorn Network, and he said, everybody's curious. So I think that's where everybody is with Charlie Strong. And the bottom line is nobody knows, because 2 years ago, Auburn went 3-9 and was horrible and got their head coach fired. And they come back in 2013 with the same team and a quarterback, Nick Marshall, that Texas said they didn't want. And they were a minute and 19 seconds away from winning the national championship last year. So you never know what can happen, because I'm still the guy that says the talent is the talent. The difference in the team will be the difference in motivation, the difference in coaching level, the difference in coaching adjustments, and the difference in effort levels of this team in 2014. So I just think it's a fascinating story, and I feel really honored that I get to be a part of it from the front line.
We're talking with Sean Adams, our Longhorns Insider, ESPN.com, now also 1300 AM in Austin, Texas. 2 to 4, Sean, is that right?
Yeah, 2 to 4 every day.
Awesome. So listen up to him. We appreciate getting him as much as we can. Go ahead, James. I know you had a question. And, in fact, Sean, James, and I were talking offline. I said, hey, are you going to have? I said, absolutely, I'm going to have Sean Adams for you, son.
Love having Sean Adams on the show. Sean, the biggest thing that everybody seems to notice is the culture change at University of Texas under head coach Charlie Strong and what he's already accomplished with dismissing 6 or more players and just kind of changing the whole mindset there. How has that process gone for him? Because everybody used to refer to the University of Texas as a place where kids go and get coddled. How has that changed under Coach Strong so far?
Well, here's the one thing that you can appreciate about Charlie Strong, and it works much like any other relationship. And the one thing that I can give anybody an appreciation for is if you are going to be held accountable for the results, then you're probably going to do it your way. I'm that way with my home. If I'm ultimately going to be the one that's to blame if something goes wrong, we're going to do it my way, because I can live with failing if I did it my way and I did it the best way I could. And I think Charlie Strong is doing that. And I don't even think Charlie Strong looks at it as he kicks people off the team. And when I had a sit down with him, I got to talk to him and kind of told him a story that I got from Sylvester Croom in 2008 when he went to Mississippi State. And Sylvester Croom said, I said, man, you kicked 12 people off this team. And he said, Sean, I didn't kick 12 people off this team. I came in, I set the slate clean. Everybody was starting again at zero. If you was in the previous regime's doghouse, you are out of the doghouse. Everybody's starting at zero. I set some rules in place, and 12 people decided they didn't want to play. And I think that's the way Charlie Strong looks at it. Charlie Strong looks at the way criteria he sets up. And if guys don't want to operate within the confines of that, then they're not going to be able to play. And I think the most important thing that people are missing in this whole conversation is the fact that Charlie Strong, once he puts these rules in place and 5 or 6 guys don't operate within the confines of the rules, there's 100 guys looking at him saying, all right, you made these rules. What you going to do? And if he doesn't do anything, what kind of accountable force can he be as a coach? How can you hold a kid responsible for making a block if you're not even holding kids responsible for your rules? So I think there's a lot of moving parts. I think there's a lot of things at play. And I think the culture is the thing that needed the most change at the University of Texas.
Absolutely. We're talking with Sean Adams, our Longhorn Insider. And Sean, you know, we get a chance to chop it up offline and sit around and talk about competition in sports, and you have your own family competing now, and I'm sure you're appreciating that as a dad to them, that the attitude you bring to the competition in the way that you prepare for anything. You have a master's in business administration. You can't just waltz through life and expect that the results are going to be highly favorable without discipline, without sacrifice, without turning it up a notch, because the softies get run over by the folks that are doing just that.
Well, absolutely. You know, my daughter just yesterday finished 9 hours of tryouts for Austin Juniors, the club she's played for the last 3 years. And she went through that, and I was there, and it still amazes me that we paid for the tryout. We sat there and go to the stress also we can have the opportunity to get these folks a lot more money. But in the end, my daughter is learning the whole way. My input equals my output. It's a very shallow economic term that will work in every single way. And the work she put in, the commitment to her health, the commitment to doing her push-ups so she's stronger, so she has a better serve, all of these things, the commitment to everything she put into it is part of the lessons that I care about sports. To be honest with you, I don't care if my daughter doesn't play volleyball going forward. I want her to be happy and get what she wants out of it. I want her to live and thrive and learn the lessons, but the lessons are the most important. I need her to know once she's in college and she's got this anatomy and physiology exam on Friday, that her inputs, her ability to monitor her sleep and her fun time, to make sure she puts in enough time to accomplish the goal, that's what I'm looking for. She's getting it out of volleyball right now, and she's getting it out of running track right now, but I need her to get it later, that when her family and her husband are having a hard time, I need her to know I got to work on my input. So I think that's where Charlie Strong is. I think Charlie Strong cares about young people. I think he cares about the development of young people, and he has a formula that so far has worked for him. And he has set some hard lines. And to be honest with you, I kind of laughed at Charlie Strong when he was at Louisville and had all these core values, because I was like, good Lord, raise the bar. You're talking about just be respectful of women. I mean, who don't know that? I got a wife and a daughter and a mother and a sister. I'm going to be respectful for women. But if you look in society right now, whether it's Ray Rice, whether it's Greg Oden, whether it's what's going on in Ferguson, whether it's cops beating on women, whatever it is, maybe my expectations are too high, and we need to hit these ground forces that Charlie Strong are trying to hit in order to develop some boys into men, which should be the goal of sports.
Absolutely, Sean.
1250 ESPN San Antonio. Sean Adams joining us, 1300 The Zone in Austin, on also InsideTexas.com. Sean, out on the football field, David Ash, there's no more person more important to the Longhorns' success this year. And how has he come along since getting cleared to practice and resume in football activities?
Yeah, let me say this at the start. I have never in my life believed in injury-prone people. I don't. I don't believe in it. You know what? I wasn't injury prone because I blew my knee out a few times. You know what makes you blow out your knee? When a 280-pound defensive tackle hits you square on the knee and sends it back the wrong direction.
Right.
That doesn't mean you're injury prone. It means you got smoked and you're going to be in therapy for a while. And I think David Ash is trying to live down that moniker. He looks great. David Ash out there right now, and I'm going to be honest with you guys about this, and this is no shot to anybody else. He is a clear number one when you look at him practice, when you look at him throw balls. He's a clear number one, and I'm still the guy that says if David Ash does not play the majority of this season, that would be the reason why things could get tough for Texas, and things could get really tough for Texas because the quarterback's the tip of the spear, and you got to have him. And while he may have some challenges and he's trying to find himself in leadership roles, and his personality is definitely different from the people that he's compared to, which are two of the best quarterbacks in college football history, and Vince Young and Colt McCoy, he's got to work on that stuff, but he is the clear leader. He is fine. He has all his resources. He has all his faculties. He's going to be fine. And you know what? It doesn't mean he's always going to be fine. The game of football is a collision sport, not a contact sport, and nobody says he might not get hurt again. They're going to try to protect him. He's going to have to learn to get down and get out of bounds and not try to take on linebackers like he's been prone to do. But I think David Ash is going to be fine, and it wouldn't shock me at all if David Ash ended up being an all Big 12 candidate by the end of the year.
I absolutely believe that. He is going to have to play. I hear the people that say they don't like him, and then I go to my football sense and I go, you don't like him because, and then the follow-up question is, and we have who to do better. And that really, again, you understand football just as well as I do. And I've seen teams that don't have quarterbacks, and I know exactly what happens to them. They don't win too often. So
no, they don't win too often at all. And that's the thing. When you look at him and you look for better options, by the practice that I've looked at, it looks like Tyrone Swoops is number 2. But the other thing that we're all guessing at, and here's the deal, none of us really know much. I'm guessing that David Ash is going to have a good season. I'm guessing based on Charlie Strong's history, because anybody that you've ever talked to, and I would challenge you guys to do this, anybody that's played for him and anybody that he's coached for and anybody that he's coached with will all say that he has one of the best abilities to figure out what motivates a certain kid and push him. And that's exactly what you need. That's what you need at Texas right now. And so we're all guessing. Nobody's going to know what's really going to happen until they tie it up against North Texas and get between the chalk. But we're all guessing right now. And I think when there's coaching changes, national media ends up talking about the coach, and local media ends up talking about the players. And I think still his currency will be his ability to motivate, his ability to draw out effort, his ability to make people accountable, and his ability to coach. And I don't look for all the times that we thought or our opinion was that the University of Texas staff got out-coached. I don't think this one will. I think they will be quicker to adjust. I think they will be quicker to make hard decisions. I think they will be quicker, and I say this because my heart's 3 times too small, I think they'll be quicker to not worry about saving somebody's feelings or not pissing off a parent. I think they'll be quicker to do what's best for the University of Texas football, and I have an appreciation for that.
Sean Adams joining us here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio. Sean, one more thing before we get you out of here. I'm looking at this team, and defensively, they were so good last year. You had Jordan Jeffcoat gone, was Defensive Player of the Year. How good can this defense? Because Charlie Strong has always hung his hat on defensive football player. I mean, I'm gonna jump in real quick before you say it, Sean. I saw the orange and white game. I loved the defense. Oh my goodness, Cedric Reed.
Dude, I think this defense is going to be really good. And again, we talk about health. I think they have honors candidates on every level of the defense. I think Malcolm Brown at defensive tackle and Ced Reed at defensive end are both honors candidates, and not Big 12 honors. I think All-American honors candidates. And then you have Jordan Hicks. If he can stay healthy, he has always played at that level when he's healthy. He's got to stay healthy. And then Quandre Diggs, I'd be shocked if we get to the end of the year and Quandre Diggs wasn't first or second team All-American. So when you talk about that level of play, they got to figure out what they're going to do with safety. They'll play a ton of 4-2-5. I really believe they'll be in 4-2-5 with the big safety in the game a whole lot of the time. But I really, really believe that this defense has a shot to be really, really good. And when I say really good, I think coming out of the Big 12, Oklahoma and Texas, and I'm a little worried now that Oklahoma might lose Frank Shannon at the linebacker spot, but I tabbed before that happened Texas and Oklahoma to both have top 10 defenses in the country.
Absolutely. He's Sean Adams, our Longhorn Insider. Sean, can't thank you enough. Appreciate it. I know you're working and doing things and fitting us in the schedule, and just get a lot of appreciation from the listeners all throughout the 35 corridor and beyond.
And Sean, still on Twitter at that Sean, right?
I am. Thank y'all so much, man. Y'all have a great morning.
All right, man. Appreciate your time. Take care. Talk to you and catch up with you soon. He's Sean Adams, our Longhorn Insider. We're coming back with our shout-outs. That's right. Right here on Laying Down the Law.